Fertilization in flowering plants. Now we know that fertilization is what? It is nothing but the fusion of male and female gamete. So when we are talking about plants, it is the fusion of the male gamete that will be coming from the pollen and the female gamete, that is egg, which is present inside the ovary. But in flowering plants, it's a long chain of events which is occurring one by another to give the resultant zygote. So we'll start it with the first step, that is the first step in fertilization in flowering plants will be the landing of the pollen on stigma. So we'll draw a diagram in which we'll show the stigma and the pollen. So this is the stigma, this is the style. Now we are drawing only these two parts because the events are occurring here. This is the style and this is the stigma. And this is the pollen grain. We have already learned about the structure of the pollen grain. That is, it is having the two layers, which is the outer one is the intine and the inner one is the intine and the outer one is exine. So when this pollen grain will land on the stigma of a flower, both will identify each other. If both are from the same species, a chemical dialogue will occur, and if this pollen is not from the same species as that of this stigma, then the pollination, then the fertilization will not occur. Artificial fertilization we can do, but that is another thing. That is, it is the naturally occurring fertilization. So when the pollen will land on the stigma, these both will recognize itself whether they are genetically identical to each other or not, and if this pollen is identical, genetically identical with the stigma of this flower, then this stigma will release certain secretions which is of sugar and water. So the second step which will occur in these events which are occurring for fertilization of flowering plants is that there will be secretion from stigma. Now we know that the pollen grain is made up of two layers, that is, the outer one is hard exine and the inner one is intine. We also know that at some places this exine is not present and these pore like spaces are called nothing but germ pore. So when the stigma recognizes this pollen and secretes sugar and water, this pollen will absorb that sugar and water, and because of that the pollen will grow in size. So when this pollen grows in size, the exine will not allow this pollen to grow very large, grow in size, that is very large, but this exine will do what? This exine will inhibit the growth. So the tube formation will occur from these pores which are the germ pores. Now we will draw that tube. So by absorbing what? By absorbing the secretion from the stigma, a tube like structure will be formed, and this tube is nothing but the pollen tube. So we will say that the germination, third step is that germination of the pollen grain. Of the pollen grain. Now there are two types of germination. it can be possible that a pollen grain will form only one tube, or it can also be possible that this pollen grain forms many tubes. So the two conditions which I said are monosiphonous and polysiphonous. If the pollen grain forms only one tube, then it's called as monosiphonous, and if this pollen grain will form many tubes, it is called polysiphonous. The monosiphonous condition is the most common condition in angiosperms. Now if the condition is that it forms many tubes, all the other tubes will get degenerated and only one pollen tube formed will be functional. Okay. Now in germination only we will have several steps, like the pollen tube which is formed after the germination of the pollen tube. We already know that the cytoplasm of the pollen grain have what? Have one generative cell and one vegetative cell. That is, this pollen grain is present at the two-celled condition, and most of the angiosperm have released their pollen grain in this condition. So the cytoplasm of the pollen grain will have what? It will have one vegetative cell and it will have a generative cell. So when this tube is formed, the generative cell will undergo the first mitotic division, that is mitotic division. The generative cell will divide and form two male gametes. It will form what? It will form two male gametes. Okay, generative cell will divide and form two male gametes. So when this tube enlarges, let's say when the tube enlarges, when this tube is enlarged, so now this tube will have what? This tube will have two male gametes, the nucleus of the tube cell and the cytoplasmic content. Okay. So all the components which were in this pollen grain are there in this pollen tube which is formed. Okay. So the pollen tube will now have the two male gametes. The black one are the two male gametes. The red one is the tube cell nucleus, and the blue dots are nothing but the cytoplasm of the tube cell. Okay. Now when this pollen tube will grow through the style, this style is of two types, that is, it can be hollow or it can be, one can be hollow and one can it can be solid. So in hollow style only these epidermal cells will be present and inside of the style will be hollow. So it will be very easy for the pollen tube to grow further and reach the ovary. This is what? This is the hollow style. And the solid style will be like this. In the solid style, there will be presence of these epidermal cells and there will be presence of parenchymatous cells inside the lumen of this style. These are what? These are the parenchymatous cells, and these parenchymatous cells make what? They make the conductive tissue. So the pollen tube has to push itself through these conductive tissue and then reach the ovary. So because of the pushing, what will happen? The pollen tube will get squeezed. Suppose this is the pollen tube, okay, and the contents are here. These are the male gametes. This one is the nucleus of the tube cell and this is the cytoplasm. So when it will pass through this conductive tissue, the tube will get what? The tube will get pressurized and the contents can come back towards the upper side. So there is formation of a special type of plug which is Gallows plug. This Gallows plug will be formed at intervals and it will help the contents of the pollen tube to be at a particular place and will not allow them to come back to the original position due to the pressure which will be formed by the conductive tissue. Okay. Now the fourth step which will be there for the fertilization is the growth of the pollen tube. Now we'll draw the diagram, a big diagram. We'll draw a big diagram of the entire carpel. This is the stigma, this is the style, and this is the ovary. This is the stigma, this is the style, and this is the ovary part. Inside the ovary we have talked about what? We have talked about the ovule. This is the ovule. We have already learned the structure of ovule. That is, this is the structure of ovule. It is having what? It is having what? Protective layers which are the integuments. These are the integuments. As this anatropous ovule is having two integuments, they are called what? They are called bitegumen. This is the chalazal end. This is the This is what? This is the micropylar end. Micropyle. So we saw here that this was the pollen grain, and from here pollen tube was formed. So this is the pollen tube and it is growing, and it will have two male gametes, nucleus of the tube cell and its cytoplasmic content, and these are the Gallows plug which are formed at intervals so that the content is meant at the end of the tube so that it can easily enter into the ovule. Okay. Now this is the ovule. Now this tube will enter. Now this tube can enter into the ovule from the chalaza. When this tube enters through the chalaza into the ovule, the process is called chalazogamy. It can also enter through the integuments, then this is called mesogamy, and when it enters through the micropyle, it is called as porogamy. So porogamy is the most common among the angiosperm. That is, the entry of the pollen tube will occur through the micropyle, and that is called what? That is called as porogamy. So we'll draw this pollen tube and it will reach what? It will reach the micropylar end. It will be somewhat here with all the contents here. These are the two male gametes This is the tube cell nucleus and this is the cytoplasm, and these are the callus plug and various intervals. Now we'll draw what? We'll draw the embryo sac. So this was the embryo sac. The embryo sac was having what? 3 cells were present at the chalazal end, 3 cells were present at the micropylar end, and 2 nuclei were present at the middle of the cell. So these were what? These were the antipodals. Antipodal. These two at the sides are the synergid, and this is the egg which will be fertilized, and these were the 2 polar nuclei. So the condition was what? The condition was 7 celled and 8 nucleate condition. So when this pollen tube will start entering through the micropyle, one of the synergid will start to disintegrate. One of the synergid will start to disintegrate, and this pollen tube will get entry through these, and all the contents of the pollen tube will come into the synergid, and through synergid it will enter into the egg and it will go in the central cell. Now this is the embryo sac, this is the egg, these are the two, these are the two what? These are the two. This is the periphery of the ovule, these are the synergids, this is the egg, and these are the filiform apparatus which will help in guiding the pollen tube towards the egg. Now these filiform apparatus are nothing but finger like projection which will help in guiding the pollen tube to get entry from one of the synergid to the egg and to the central cell. Okay. Now the pollen tube will enter into one of the synergid, and this synergid will start to disintegrate, and now this is having what? This is having the male gamete, this is having the 2 male gametes. I will draw the male gametes in black color only. One of the male gamete will enter through this disintegrating synergid into the egg, and the other will move upwards and it will fertilize the 2 polar nuclei. Okay. And the filiform apparatus which is present in the synergid will help in guiding the pollen tube to enter into the embryo sac. Now the growth of the pollen tube was completed, and 5th one was what we already discussed, that is entry of the pollen tube into the embryo sac. So one of the male gamete, this is what? This is gamete, so it is in haploid condition, will get united with the egg cell, that is also haploid, and there will be formation of what? There will be formation of zygote, which is what? Which is diploid. The other male gamete will move towards the central cell and it will unite with the polar nuclei, and these are the 2 nuclei, so they are having n plus n condition, and there will be the formation of there will be formation of primary endosperm nucleus. This is nothing but pen, and the ploidy of this pen is 3n, that is triploid. So the zygote formed will be diploid and the primary endosperm nucleus which will be formed is triploid. And this primary endosperm nucleus will further mature into endosperm, which will provide nourishment to the developing zygote. So here we can say that two fertilizations are occurring. One male gamete is doing syngamy with the egg and there is a formation of zygote, and the other male gamete is uniting with through polar nuclei and they are forming what? They are forming what? They are forming primary endosperm nucleus. So we can say that this type of fertilization is called as double fertilization. It's called what? It is called fertilization because the first fertilization is this one and the second fertilization is this. So two fertilizations are occurring and hence we call this process as double fertilization. And here we have seen that one male gamete is having the haploid condition, the other two polar nuclei will having n plus n condition, and finally there is formation of pen, that is triploid. So this type of fusion is called what? Triple fusion, because there is fusion of three nuclei. So we say that this is called what? This is called as triple fusion. So we'll revise this. First there was landing of the pollen on the stigma. Now they saw both were compatible with each other, having the genetic composition same. So the stigma started the secretion which was in the form of sugar. That is a more complex thing, that is the complex sugar complex is having boron also, inositol also and calcium also, and because of that secretion the pollen grain starts producing a pollen tube, that is germination of the pollen grain will occur and there will be formation of the pollen tube. Now in next step the growth of the pollen tube will occur inside the style and it will try to reach the ovule inside the ovary. When the pollen tube reaches with all the contents, that is the two male gamete, one nucleus of the tube cell, that is the vegetative cell, and the cytoplasmic content, it will the filiform apparatus which are present into the synergid will help in guiding the pollen tube and the synergid will start disintegrating. Now the two male gamete will reach the synergid and through that synergid the disintegrating, because the synergid has already disintegrated, so one male gamete will come and fertilize itself with the egg and it will form a diploid zygote, and the other male gamete will move towards the two polar nuclei in the central cell of embryo sac and it will form primary endosperm nucleus, that is triploid, and this primary endosperm nucleus will further mature into the endosperm, and this endosperm is nothing but the nutritive medium, the nutritive content which will help in developing the zygote to the embryo. Okay, so here we saw that two fertilization were occurring. One was one male gamete with the egg cell and the other one was the other male gamete with the polar nuclei. So this type of fertilization is also called double fertilization, and in this step we saw that one male gamete was combining with two polar nuclei, so the fusion of three haploid cell was there, and so it is also called as triple fusion. So this is all about the fertilization in the flowering plants.